Councilmember Khamis?
Yeah, I think a lot of my colleagues have said it already best, but I think this opportunity to work should be aptly named opportunity to destroy San Jose jobs. If you looked at the ballot measure, it's like taking a sledgehammer to try to take down a little tiny nail. It is extremely broad. It will invite lawsuits. It actually encourages it because you're paying for legal fees on both sides. And many of my colleagues don't know what it's like to run a business. I had to sign paychecks in the front. And whenever you have a dispute with an employee, you could potentially be sued, regardless of whether the employee's correct or whether you are correct. They could still come back and sue you and claim something that absolutely didn't exist. If you look at the Goodwill example, the earthquakes, the sharks, all of these organizations are going to be affected by this ordinance, and then we'll have to play cleanup later. Try to create exclusions and do all this finagling, creating a huge bureaucracy just to oversee what businesses' day-to-day operations are. They have to catalog, log, make sure that they have to account for every person, that they talked to them before they offered the job to a part-timer. And in the case of the scenario with Raul's brother, I have to say, if Raul's brother doesn't speak up in time and one of Raul's colleagues decides to take the full-time position, his brother will be out of work, because it doesn't mean that there's other monies. It just means that there's going to be full-time workers. There's not going to be any extra money to pay for more jobs. We have 72,000 jobs. If every one of them were to become full-time, there would be 36,000 jobs. That means that we'll be looking for 36,000 unemployed people. Let's just do the numbers here. If every part-time person were to try to take this full-time position, 36,000 people will be out of a job. Anyway, I cannot support the underlying motion. I think the city is being asked to do something that is absolutely not in its best interest. We're starting to recover from a downtrend. And by the way, any of my colleagues can come up on any single Tuesday and introduce legislation that would have been much better. I think my colleagues have already introduced, which I was proud to support, wage theft ordinance, which we passed recently, and we're working on to try to make it harder for employers to rob people from rightfully getting wage theft. There are temporary vendor ordinances that we worked on. There are many excellent pro-employee ordinances that have been introduced by my colleague Raul Magdalena Carrasco of late that I totally supported and that are very pro-employee. But what's going to happen here is that we're actually going to destroy jobs. For people like myself who actually worked my way through college at San Jose State University because my parents couldn't afford to send me to school. And if there were no part-time jobs, I couldn't take a full-time job, and so it would have been a less opportunity for me to work my way through college. Because everybody else would be getting the full-time jobs, there would be a lot less part-time jobs out there for me to fill. That means I wouldn't have been able to afford my college education. These are the unintended consequences that this very broad, overreaching law will actually come to. Again, I'm extremely under the weather. I've been hanging in there as long as I can. But I think that our colleagues, while well-intentioned, I don't think that they understand the weight of what employers have to go through in just opening a business, let alone maintaining it, and all the regulations that we're putting through. I think my colleague last week or a week ago said something that we're actually giving them a death by 1,000 cuts. We had new taxes. We're talking about doubling the sales, the business tax, were this measure. There's all kind, and the $15 minimum wage being put into effect in 2019. These are all things that employers are not going to take kindly to, and may reconsider locating in San Jose, or coming to San Jose, or growing in San Jose, or staying in San Jose. I mean, these are all reasons why not to do business in San Jose, and I'm very upset with special interest groups who try to bully business and nonprofits at the ballot box. It's happened to us even with a marijuana initiative that everybody was trying to force us to undo our laws in marijuana. Everybody got the signatures, and all of a sudden we had to run and try to find ways to beat down the marijuana law. Now, and I agree with Councilmember Rocha that this is not the way we should legislate. Like I said, every Tuesday we have the opportunity to put excellent laws into place, or put laws that we have discussed with business, employers, unions. We have those opportunities every single Tuesday, and many of you have already taken us up, have already introduced good legislation, well thought out legislation. This is a knee-jerk reaction, and I don't think it will be. It will actually may end up not helping the very people that we want to have full time. So be careful. Again, 72,000 part-time employees. If everybody were to take a full-time job, that means there will be 36,000 less employees.